Yo, what's going on everybody? It's Gem Live and welcome back to another video. And today I'm gonna go over how the Toronto Raptors can beat the Golden State Warriors in this year's NBA Finals. Now before I start the video, let me be 100% clear. Do I think the Raptors are gonna win? No, probably not. But do I think it's gonna be a lot closer than people think? Yes. And I think I came up with a list of 4 very crucial things that I think the Torontos either need to do or the Golden State Warriors can absolutely not do. And if the stars align or I think more than one of these things is gonna need to happen, but if like 1, 2, or 3 of these things is gonna happen, I could just see the series slipping away from Golden State and Toronto coming away with the underdog victory. So without further ado, here we go. The first thing on this list is who's gonna stop Kawhi. Now, what makes Golden State such a good team is they are the most lethal offensive team in NBA history, but they're also consistently one of the better defensive teams in the league. So, with that being said, Kawhi shouldn't be too much of a problem, but I can't think of a person who's gonna match up well with Kawhi because their lockdown defenders are Klay Thompson, Andre Iguodala, Draymond Green. And with Klay Thompson, he's really good, and you saw it in the Portland series. He's so good at staying in front of guards, making their shot hard to get. He guarded Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum perfectly, clamped them up the entire series. But he's too small for Kawhi. He's not gonna be physical enough. Kawhi's gonna get up his shot no matter where, get to a spot, bump him off, and put it up. And when I think Iguodala is stronger than Klay Thompson, the same thing goes for him and Draymond Green. I just don't think they're athletic enough. I don't think they're fast enough. And so they're gonna really need to play some good team defense on Kawhi, which really hurts them because as we saw in the previous series, the Toronto's role players were absolutely going off against the Bucks. Which brings me to my second point. The role players for the Toronto Raptors need to keep balling. They need Fred VanVleet to keep hitting 82% of his shots from 3. They need Paul Gasol to be there for that pick and pop, pick and fade. And they need to make open shots. Because Kawhi is gonna win his one-on-one matchups, these people are gonna be open in the corners, they're gonna be open cutting, they're gonna have wide open corner threes, mid-ranges, so they need to make their shots. If this series comes down to Kawhi, like it's either Kawhi or nobody, Golden State's gonna win this series. So that's why I put these first 2 next to each other. So it's very crucial for both these things to happen. The third thing I have on the list is KD and DeMarcus Cousins are both expected to come back at some point during the finals. I think DeMarcus Cousins before KD. But as we know, like what happened in Boston, it can be very awkward integrating hurt players into a team that's had a lot of success without them. And I don't think this is gonna be a big of a problem with KD because I keep hearing people say that the Warriors are better without KD, and I think that's completely silly. How is arguably the best player in the NBA added to the team make them worse? I understand throughout the regular season they might have different numbers, but when they have KD on the floor, you can watch them. They don't play as hard. If you go back and remember when KD joined them a few years ago and they had their system and they kind of just plopped KD in there and they were so used to running around doing all these off-ball screens and all this stuff, and then they threw KD in there which spaced out the floor so much more. They were amazing. I think as they won their first 2 championships, they've kind of become a little complacent and a little lazy when it came to, they have all these all-stars, they don't need to run, they can kind of like save themselves for late quarter stretches. And so KD I don't think is gonna be a problem. What I think a problem is gonna be is DeMarcus Cousins coming in, because what we saw last series with Toronto and the Bucks is what the Raptors did with Brook Lopez and Kawhi, where they just like could switch them every time and Kawhi could just get any shot he wanted to. It looked like he was playing with middle schoolers. And that has always been DeMarcus Cousins' weakest point in his whole entire game, in his whole entire career. And now coming off an Achilles and a quad injury, he's not gonna be athletic when he wasn't really in the first place. And I think if he comes back, it's gonna be really, really hard for them, especially if Kawhi's getting all these open shots and everyone has to come help DeMarcus. I feel like it's gonna be really hard to play DeMarcus in these finals games, even if he's hurt. And if it does end up working out okay, I could see it still being awkward within the first 2 games. Golden State has home court advantage. And so That's why I think it could hurt them early. So if they do eventually figure it out, but they lose game 1 or they lose game 2, or if they lose both, Toronto is an amazing home court team. So if they can't figure this out immediately, then that could be a huge problem for Golden State. The fourth and final thing that I really think the Warriors absolutely cannot do is they cannot go down 17 3 games in this series, because the Raptors, they're a better team than Portland. They have a way better all-star and closer. And if you're down 17 to the Raptors late in the third quarter, you're gonna lose that game. I know the Warriors can go on crazy runs of stretches and come back in a blink of an eye, but they have a better coach, they have a better system, they have better defenders, they have a more consistent offensive scoring team, and I just don't see the Warriors. So if they're so used to coming back from these deficits, I don't think that's gonna work against the Raptors. Thank you guys so much for watching, and again, I do still have as my prediction the Warriors winning this game. I don't think it'll finish in 5. It might finish in 6 or 7, and with all these things, all the 4 things, I think at least 2 of them need to happen for the Raptors to win, but if 3 of these things happen, then I think the Raptors will win for sure. They need to defend home court, but I do think it's gonna be a good series because after LeBron got hurt and didn't make the playoffs, the discussion's been, all right, who's the next best player in the league? Is it KD? Is it Giannis? And after these playoff series, everyone's been saying, all right, prove to me why it's not Kawhi. Who's gonna stop him? It wasn't Giannis. Giannis didn't show up. And Kevin Durant's gonna be coming off an injury to try and prove himself. It's really gonna be an interesting matchup when everyone comes together. I'm so excited. It starts tomorrow, I believe, if I get this video up Wednesday. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment down below what you let me think. Share with your friends. Get the word around, and I don't know. See ya.